So this is Mr. Peacock, and this is an overview of the QL Semester 1 Final Exam Review. I'm going to go through each problem, and then you can contact me if you have questions. So the first problem you have is to compute the square footage of an apartment space to figure out the price of flooring. And the step one is to figure out the square footage of the bedroom, which is this top portion, and the closet. So the dimensions of the bedroom, as I've written in here, I've put these tick marks on here to show you, is 15 feet by 13 feet 4 inches. When we multiply that in our calculator, we either need to convert both units into inches or make sure that that 4 is not 0.4, it's a fraction of 4/12. Multiply 15 times 13 and 4/12 and get 200 square feet. They don't give you the length of the closet, they just give you this width of 4 feet 4 inches. So we have to take that 15 feet that's over here and subtract it from this total length, which is 24 feet 4 inches. I did that calculation here. 20 feet 4 inches minus 15 feet is 9 feet 4 inches. So I multiply 9 and 4/12 times 4 and 4/12. Those are the dimensions here of the closet. Add the square footage of my bedroom to the square footage of my closet, basically the answers of A and B, and I get my 240 and 4/9 square footage, which is my total square footage for my area that I'm going to be flooring. So on question 2, you look at carpeting. There's a 10% off sale from Lowe's. So we're going to first calculate the carpet. We have the square footage from problem 1 times the 425, which is the square footage. The cost per square foot, but it's 10% off, so we're going to multiply it by 0.9. Now we could multiply it by 0.1 because it's 10%, but then we would have to subtract that from that price. So it's easier just to subtract the percentages. 100% minus 10% gives me 90%, so I get $919.70. Now to compute the tax, we need to add the tax, so we take our 100% plus the 9.75% sales tax rate, or 1.0975, and that gives me a grand total of $1,009.37 for the carpet. I compute the installation cost by taking 325 times my square footage. I don't have to calculate tax, and the discount's not applied, so that's a pretty straight calculation. And then in part C, I just add A and B together to get my total. We go to Home Depot to look at hardwood flooring. It's 11% off. 11% off would be the same as multiplying by 0.89. So I take my square foot cost times my discount, and I'm going to get $609.89. For the hardwood to be installed, again, it's a straight calculation, just the square footage times the installation cost. There was no sales tax on A, so I just add these two together and get my total. You can answer 4 on your own. When it says explain using mathematical reasoning, that just says, hey, don't tell me that you like carpeting better. Say something like the cost per square foot, or, you know, the installation price was this, or this was this much more or less than something else. Okay, so question 5, they give you the diameter of the pizzas in this pizza deal. I wrote down the radius dimension, basically dividing each of those by 2. So when we go to compute the area in A and B, and here's my area formula for my circle, I remember to use my radius. So area is pi times the radius squared. So my medium pizza is 6 inches. That's 36 pi. For, I put a dollar sign, but I scratched that out. That's wrong. This is just square inches. 113.10 square inches. And then large is going to be 7-inch radius, and that gives us 153.94, and we all know that it's always cheaper to buy the bigger pizza. So our pizza deal for the largest, which is $26.99. Now don't forget to divide by 2. You have 2 pizzas, so I wrote that down here. You added the 2 square inches. You're going to get a total of 2 pizzas here, and that gives me 0.877, which is obviously cheaper than the 2 mediums, which is 0.11, which is more expensive. All right, moving on to question 6. I'm looking at this function, and what do these numbers mean? Well, I have 25 plus 3.5d. D is the number of drinks. So what does the y-intercept mean? What does the 25 mean? Well, that's the price of the ticket. So I only have to pay that once. But for each time I get a drink, which is my D, it's 3.5. So the slope is 3.5, $3.50 per drink. Okay? Reasonably priced concert, by the way. Must be in Central Illinois. All right. Spend $39. So I put the $39, that's over here. I put that into my equation. $39 equals 25 plus 3.5d. I just substituted the 39 in for here and then solve this equation. You can also do it by graphing it. Graph this into Desmos and then find out, where this equals 39, and that's another way to do it. And I solved this. I subtracted the 25 from both sides and then divided by the 3.5. That's four drinks. Okay. Write a linear equation in slope-intercept form and add a screenshot of the graph. So you rent a car for $80 plus $35 per day. Anytime per means multiply, means every time something happens, and I could have put D here for day, but y equals 35x. So 35 is the thing that's being multiplied plus the $80. That's not going to change based on days. If I go into Desmos and put in y equals 35x plus 80, there's the graph, and of course I might have to zoom out on that to see what that looks like here. Okay, that's what that looks like. All right. So you can copy and paste that in there. All right, here's some data here. I'm not going to type it all in, but I'll get you started. If I'm in Desmos, I can put those in by saying, hit the little plus and hit table. I think it's 1, 10, if I can remember. $13, $11, $17, $12. Okay, and if you click on this little magnifier, we see that. And then if I put in y1 tilde m x1 plus b, it's going to do my regression analysis there. It's going to give me my slope, and it's going to give me my y-intercept. So that's that. Independent, dependent. Well, which one is dependent on the other? Is the year dependent on the number of sports, or is the sports dependent on the year? Well, the sports are dependent on what year it's in. If I go farther down the line, more sports are being played. So the independent variable is the years, and the dependent is sports. What's the slope? Interpret the slope. I can go back to Desmos and take a look at that. The slope is 0.1875, but what does it mean? Well, it means it's going up at a rate, showing that over time, the number of sports is going up. Okay? This is the number of sports in the Winter Olympics. People get tired of watching skiing all the time, I guess. What's the y-intercept? Well, y-intercept is this number right here, and in my information it says that it's years after 1975. So this y-intercept here would be 0, meaning 1975. So that would be where we're starting to look at our data, is in 1975. Okay? And use the equation of the trend line to predict the number of sports taking place in 2000. Well, don't look out to 2000. I need to figure out, well, how far is 2000 from 1975. Well, 1975 to 2000 is 25 years. So I'm looking at 25 here. So this is where I want to be here, 25 years after. Okay. Now, here's the thing. 25 years is actually on my graph here, right? You see, number of years after 1975. Just say 20. Yeah, so it's actually a number here, but you can see that by looking at there. 25 years, how many that is. Okay, that answers that question. Okay, hopefully you found that useful. Let me know if you have any questions.